Now then, campers, a magnificent Monday to you all. I hope you've had a wonderful day. How's your week started off, my friends? In Melbourne, I'll tell you now, if you're not down in Melbourne, let me tell you, it's cold and wet. We had a really nice day yesterday and on Saturday, and true to form, Melbourne has turned the tables on us yet again. First weekend of finals football for those sports fans out there. Hopefully your team was, one, involved, but then two, did well. It was an interesting weekend for auction land. Obviously, Melbourne's still in lockdown. We had a few sort of online sales on auction, but obviously not too many to shout about. New South Wales had a long weekend, but still ended up with a decent clearance rate. So we'll have a quick score around the grounds before having a think and a look into tomorrow, which is going to be a huge day. So first things first, though, my friends, let us know what your scores are out of 10 for the start of your week. Post them in the comment section below. Let us know how you're getting on, how your day has begun, how your week has begun. Please post your scores in the comments so I can get a feel for the flow of you guys. Now, so if you've got a question for me during the show, please either send me a text to 0451 085 998, or you can post a question in the comment section. I will get round to you as soon as I possibly can. We've got a few things to have a quick chat about. Jen, welcome, 10 out of 10, nice. Holly, she's tired today. Why is that, Holster? Is it anything to do with the kids by any chance? Because that's why I'm bloody cold, or why I'm tired. I'll tell you that now. It is exactly why I'm tired. My boy, he really has decided that sleep is not something he likes to partake in all that often. Sorry if you can hear the rumbling in the back. That's my dog trying to get into this new room where I've commandeered my daughter's quiet room, and hopefully this is going to provide us with a little bit of a better backdrop. I've got the approval from Jen T, our resident video expert. But now, gang, tomorrow is going to be a really, really interesting day. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day for a number of different reasons. Firstly, we are on the eve of RiseX. So for those of you that did get yourselves a ticket, that is going to be an amazing morning from 9 till 12 with the release of the Real Care mental health app as well. Chris Hanley just shot us a text earlier on today to let us know that almost 2,000 people have registered to attend tomorrow morning's conference, tomorrow morning's virtual conference, which is amazing. That is so cool. So it's going to be an amazing launch of the Real Care app. You're going to get some tremendous value from it, some incredible speakers and educators and whatnot in the space. It's just going to be such good value for everybody concerned. So really looking forward to that. As well as that, though, gang, we've got a few fairly sizable things going on in government, namely, possibly, essentially, the greatest, biggest, most important budget announcement Josh Frydenberg is going to be making tomorrow. It's going to be massive. Let's think about it, right? We've got so much going on in the world and in our country. Bushfires and I mean, look, we've been so busy focusing on the pandemic. It's like there's so many people that are still being affected by the bushfires, right? So this budget that's coming out is going to be so pivotal and critical for so many people. It's going to be a bloody tough job for him. I've got to give him that. It's going to be a very, very difficult job. So all eyes on Canberra tomorrow. As well as that, though, we've got the RBA cash rate announcement as well, which we'll have a chat about a little bit later on too. So quick around the grounds. I'll pop the scores on the doors from the weekend's from the last week's action. on the ticker tape below. So yeah, like I said, 19 auction results in Victoria. So there was a few more online auctions. New South Wales obviously had a long weekend, so a lower volume of auctions, but they still fared reasonably well. Volume of private sales is ticking along quite nicely up there too. As it is in Victoria, 866 private sales in Victoria, 75% clearance rate in New South Wales. Long weekends really don't make much of a difference, gang. Queensland dropped a little bit there to 46%. South Australia still holding their end up quite nicely. Western Australia still ticking over the 500 private sales. ACT dropped their game a tiny bit, dropping into the low 80s from a clearance rate point of view. And Tassie are consistent with their private sale numbers, which is good to see. So I'll leave those scores on the ticker below, so you can have a look at it as and when. Now, quickly want to go through a couple of potential wins, a couple of things that you want to perhaps look out for in tomorrow's budget. So for a lot of professionals, a lot of them don't really tend to pay too much attention to politics and what goes on and what have you. They're too busy focused on the day-to-day transactions. And I understand that, right? But one thing that we need to perhaps be mindful of is that tomorrow's budget is going to impact a hell of a lot of people quite significantly. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a bloody hard job for Mr. Frydenberg and the powers that be, because there are so many parts of our economy and our country that need so much care and attention, right? So I think firstly, before we go, we'll talk about potential wins in the budget. We've got to think about how we can help ourselves as well. Ultimately, this budget ain't going to be able to cater for everyone. It just isn't. It isn't a bottomless pit of money. So we've got to try and do what we can do and think about how we can help ourselves before we worry about getting any more handouts or any more sort of subsidies or anything of that sort of nature. Having said that, though, just going off some people that are way more educated than me, talking about potential wins that could come out of the budget, looking at forecasts in terms of population growth and all those sorts of things. A couple of potential wins that have been identified are ones like first home buyers could very much benefit from tomorrow's budget announcement. Why? Because population growth has dropped when it comes to new immigration. Clearly, obviously, the course of this last year has seen a hell of a lot of travel not happening, so therefore there's going to be a lot less immigration coming through the doors and into our towns and states. So they're going to need to prop up that front end of the residential real estate side of things, and that's where potentially first home buyers could end up on the receiving end of some benefits of some way, shape or form, because clearly it's the first home buyer market that are going to be looked at in order to keeping in touch with that front end of the market and making sure that it sustains itself okay at that entry level side of things. So there's one potential win. Another one that was put out there was there has been a huge push to alter and extend the stimulus around home renovations and home builder stimulus and whatnot, especially the renovation side, because that bottom cap of 150k minimum spend requirement on renovations, it's simply not attainable by so many people, right? So I think that there's huge pressure on lowering that and thus helping to keep trades involved and trades in work and spend going through there and what have you, but also an extension to the home builder stimulus, which is due to end on the 31st of December, right? So they're probably hopefully going to extend that through as well, which will cost a few bob, but it will increase the number of people that will be able to remain in jobs substantially. So, all being well, if you're looking at maybe building a home of some description, you could be a winner as well. There's a couple of areas that are perhaps a greater concern. Social housing, for example, federal are saying that's each state's responsibility. If you're in Victoria, then social housing could become a real concern as the budget gets stretched further and further and further because of everything that's going on right now. So that's being looked at as a state issue, not a federal issue. So yes, I mean, I think they've come out and said that. So I can see that the social housing sector part of our space is perhaps not going to get the love that it perhaps wants. It's going to be an interesting one, and whether you're into politics or not, I would highly recommend that tomorrow you pay attention, because it is going to have things in there that is going to impact every single one of your clients without fail. So the quicker you get across that, the better off you're likely to be. Okay, because ultimately people are going to want to look at us for advice and knowledge and insights. So it is your part of your job to make sure that you are across all of that. Okay. Now the other one, which is happening tomorrow, is the RBA announcement. They're looking at revising their cash rate again. And again, from all of the media and reports and articles and experts that have come out and said various things, the camp's really divided. So for those of you that don't know, and again, this is one of those things that you really need to have an understanding about. For those of you that don't know, the cash rate is the lowest. It's at the lowest it's ever been. It's at a historical low of 0.25%. Okay, so that's the cash rate that the Royal Bank of Australia puts out. Now, there is a number of panelists and experts and whatnot that are suggesting that the RBA might well be tempted to drop that again to hopefully further stimulate spend in the economy to maybe even a 0.1, which is just ridiculous, insane. And look, in terms of front end economics, there's going to be lots and lots of very, very cheap money. It is absolutely going to stimulate spending because it will make things a lot cheaper. The problem that I have, and that a number of other people have, is, and this is what I mean by the camp being divided, is with the federal budget coming out, I personally, and there's loads of people that personally would feel that it's perhaps a better idea to not throw away the baby with the bathwater, and let's see how the budget affects spending first before making any drastic changes. We've seen it in New Zealand, where after stage 4, spend just went bananas. It just went absolutely ballistic immediately after a stage 4 lockdown. And so obviously in Victoria, we'll be looking at a nice little spike in action, which should be good. But I think across the board, I think there perhaps will be enough emotional reasoning towards spending right now. And look, let's face it, while there's still JobKeeper coming through and all those sorts of things, and subsidies of those sorts of descriptions, chances are people will spend the money anyway, okay, because they've got it. Now, my bigger concern is when people don't have things like JobKeeper and whatnot. So heading towards March time and what have you, that is when I think we're going to need to try and make things a little bit cheaper. So hopefully, and this is just my humble opinion, hopefully, the RBA will hold firm on its 0.25, and then we'll get a chance to actually see how the budget affects the economy by itself before making any more artificial changes like changing a cash rate. So, gang, you need to get yourself across all of that because it's going to affect you, whether you're in the profession or not, to be perfectly honest. And look, I'm going to be real. I'm not a political person in any way, shape. I can't stand listening to it. I really can't. And I've said it in a number of episodes when it comes to everything that's going on in Vic, that realistically, we really should be thinking about what we can do. Don't look, at the end of the day, they will do what they will do. We can't control that, but we can control what we can control. So I've been begging so many people to just focus on that. But I think tomorrow, especially tomorrow, I think we all need to be across it. And we all need to be really paying attention to what those outcomes are likely to be and how they're going to affect both our livelihoods, but also our housing situation as well. All right. So please get yourself across that. I'll be across it. I need to be now. Anyway, now I'm going to be a part of Property TV. So I will absolutely be all over that. So fingers crossed, I'll be able to provide you with a few more insights that we can translate for you, so that you can, if you're in the profession, pass it on to your consumers with a good degree of understanding. So that's probably one of the bigger issues, right? And that's something that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, is that agents on the front line, be it in property management and you talk to landlords, or whether you're in sales and you're talking to investors or owner-occupier, it doesn't matter, right? If anybody's spending a substantial amount of money on property, then we need to be in a position that we can educate them to a degree, not in terms of giving them general financial advice, because that's highly illegal, but in terms of just making sure that they understand the landscape. It's really important in our jobs that we do that, because people do spend ridiculous sums of money with us. And I believe that we on the front line perhaps need to be a little bit more educated than what we are. And we need to put a bit more time into it as well. It's no good just, headline reading and hoping for the best, because that's what we've all been guilty of. We actually need to take the time as professionals. We're serious about our roles, and from a property advisory point of view, we do need to understand that stuff. And I don't believe that enough people on the front line are taking the time to do that. Whether it is, I don't know what it could be, but we need to understand that all of that stuff will affect all of us. So, and people will be looking to us to translate anything that's come through the federal budget that's getting passed tomorrow. All right. So please, gang, pay attention to it. If not, I will be around to help translate and dissimulate and all that sort of stuff. So fingers crossed that what's being said in the newspapers is right in the main. Like the one thing we've all got to understand though is that they won't be able to put out every fire. Okay, they just won't. So let's be understanding of that, and hopefully make of it what we can in each way that we can possibly do that. So gang, I'm gonna leave it there for the time being. You're probably gonna see a bit of me tomorrow, so I'm not gonna carry on for too much longer. If you got any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section. I'll pick them up tomorrow, or send me a text message. Let me pop my number back on the screen for you there, 0451 085 998. Feel free to send me a text at any point in time, and I'll pick it up and do my best to answer any questions that you have. For now, though, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to make it nice and short and sweet for tonight. But, my friends, I love you. Take care. I hope you had a great weekend and had a great start to the week. See it through. But for now, stay safe, stay healthy. Most importantly, you guys stay happy, all right? Take care.